In today's video, we're going to dive right back into the world of high A grace notes. Previously, we learned how to do a regular high A grace note, and in another lesson, we learned how to do ascending high A grace notes. So in this lesson, we're going to learn how to do descending high A grace notes. All right, and just like the name suggests, it's going to be from a high G down to a lower note with a high A grace note in between, right? So that just means if you're going from a high G down to an E with a high A grace note, it would be like this. Okay? Now you can do it from a high G down to an F, down to an E, down to a D, down to a C, down to a B, down to a low A, and down to a low G. All right? So all those different notes. All right, you can do it on all those different notes, and it's a really, really great little embellishment or grace note, whatever you want to call it. Used a lot in piping, especially probably the most used one I would say is the high G to the F, right, like this. All right, you see that a lot in tunes. Now, if you enjoy this video, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up and all that sort of stuff. And if you want to take a course, I have a course online that covers everything from the basics up to advanced bagpipe playing. And you can see that in the description. Or if you're a beginner player, you can take my beginners course, which is absolutely free, and that's in the description below as well. Or if you want some one-on-one lessons, hit me up and we can get you going too, and that's in the description down below. All right. So again, it's anytime you go from a higher note down to a lower note with a high A grace note. All right. So really slow, it's like this. Up to speed, it's like this. Okay. Now I'm going to get a close up of the chanter, and we're going to do each one of those notes. All right. So there's no confusion, and there's going to be diagrams and stuff to help as well. And at the end of this video, there'll also be an exercise you can do. All right. So when you're done this video, you should be able to do your high A grace note, your ascending high A grace note, and your descending high A grace note. So you should never have any more problems with high A grace notes. Just take your time, go through these videos, and you should be all set. All right. So let's get a close up and get going. Descending high A grace notes can be done from any note from an F, down to an F, down to an E, down to a D, down to a C, down to a B, down to an A, low A, and down to a low G. Okay? To start off, let's start with going from a high G down to a F. Okay? So you begin with a high G, then you lift up your thumb, then you put your thumb and your top finger back down again at the same time. Okay? So really slow, it would sound like this. At a medium speed, it would sound like this. And then up to speed, it would sound like this. To go from a high G down to an E with a high A grace note, you begin by playing your high G. Then you lift up your thumb. Then you put your thumb and your top two fingers back down again to play an E. Okay? So slowly, it would sound like this. At a medium speed, it would sound like this. And then up to speed, it would sound like this. To go from a high G down to a D with a high A grace note in between, you'd start by playing your high G, then you lift up your thumb, then you put your thumb and your top three fingers down at the same time, and you lift these three fingers up at the same time, all right, and put your pinky down. So a lot going on, all right? So you got your high G, all right, then you lift up your thumb, then you're going to put your thumb, this finger, and this finger down, and you're going to put your pinky down, your bottom pinky down, and lift these 3 fingers up. Okay, so a lot going on. Take a look at the picture, the diagram here to help. So really slow, it would sound like this. Okay, at a medium speed, it would sound like this. And then up to speed, it would sound like this. All right, this is a fairly hard movement to do, so take your time and go slowly and make sure all your fingers are going where they need to go. To go from a high G down to a C with a high A greystone in between, you'd start by playing your high G. Then you're going to lift your thumb up. Then you're going to put all your top fingers back down and lift this finger and this finger, but put this finger back down. All right, so a lot of fingers moving. So high G, thumb up, and then all these fingers down, and then these 2 fingers up, and your pinky down. Okay, again, take a look at the diagram, it should help. Really slow, it should sound like this. At a medium speed, it should sound more like this. And then up to speed, it should sound like this. To go from a high G down to a B with a high A grace note, begin with your high G, lift up your thumb, and then put all these fingers down, and then lift up this 1 finger to play a B, okay? So again, high G, thumb up, all these fingers down, and this finger up at the same time, okay? Slowly, it should sound like this. At a medium speed, it should sound like this. And then up to speed, it should sound like this. To go from a high G down to a low A with a high A grace note, begin by playing your high G, thumb up, and then all these fingers back down. Okay? A little bit easier than the last couple of high A grace notes. So high G, thumb up, and then all your top hand fingers down at the same time. Okay? It should sound like this slowly. At a medium speed, and then up to speed, it would sound like this. Okay, last one. If you want to go from a high G down to a low G with a high A grace note, begin by playing your high G, thumb up, and then all your fingers back down, right? So all your top hand fingers and your bottom pinky finger at the same time. All right? So really slowly, it would sound like this. At a medium speed, it would sound like this. And then up to speed, it would sound like this. Okay, let's try an exercise. I want you to do each of these 4 times. For the first one, we're gonna start on a high G and go down to an F with a high A grace note in between, all right? We'll do that 4 times. Then we'll do a high G down to an E with a high A grace note in between, and then we'll do it from a D and a C and then a B and a low A and then a low G, all right? We're gonna do it 4 times each, okay? All right, let's give it a try. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down to the D. Down to the C. B. Down to the A. Down to the low G. All right, okay, that was 4 each, I think. Things to be careful about, make sure you actually get your high A finger up. When you're first learning, you probably miss a couple. It's kind of a hard thing to do. And make sure that you have no cross fingering, right? When you go from like a high G down to a D, you're moving a lot of fingers down and a lot of fingers up at the same time, okay? So just make sure that fingers aren't going like, all right, you want to make sure it's nice and clean. Okay? So watch out for that as well, okay? That's something a lot of people get stuck on. All right? So that's descending high A grace notes.